We're on.
Well, good morning, Joe, on this lovely Sunday morning. We're going to do this a couple of weeks ago, but this is going to be a special show for the build-up to the World Club Championship between 4 times grand final winning St. Helens and the all-conquering, I think the 2 times winning Penrith Panthers. And I said this morning to myself. I was sat there making some notes, and I thought, what a great time to do it, because you're right. I thought what a great time to do it as being. We watched the game yesterday. We got a chance to see Saints, and let's be realistic. We've watched Saints. I think there were 3 or 4 first-team players for St. George yesterday, but it was certainly a second-tier team. But it got a chance to see Saints in that heat, on that ground, in the facility. Had they travel well? You know, we can build up this from a Saints point of view, Joe. But first thing first is, what did you see yesterday? Tell us positives, negatives.
Yeah, positives on the game. Saints complete in control, I thought, throughout the game. Never felt scared that they were going to go down or lose control. Even after Gold Coast scored the couple of tries, it wasn't Gold Coast. It wasn't. It scored the couple of tries. I never got worried.
St. George, Joe, yeah? St. George.
Yeah, my brain there. I said it as I said it. I went, that's just wrong side in my brain. I watched them earlier on today. I apologise. But yeah, St. George, I never were worried. Even when St. George started to maybe get the try or two and catch up, I thought Saints had it in the bag. Lewis Dodds had the great start to the game. That first 20 minutes, he had it on tap. He was in control, set up the try, obviously scored the try himself. So I thought that's a great sign for St. Helens, obviously, as well, with him being a show-me boy and also with his injury. There's obviously probably a little bit of concern there, but that's probably all gone now after the performance he gave us on Saturday morning. Other than that, I think Wormsley, again, maybe some injury concerns, not anymore. 180 metres, completely dominated, looked outstanding. Jack Wellesby, I think, did 120 metres, another outstanding performance from Jack, just an absolute workhorse. And then obviously Tommy Mack again. Tommy Mack, he never fails to not perform. Tommy Mack, I think he did 140 plus metres. So yeah, some absolute 3-metre monsters there, along with Lewis Dodds in control. Yeah, very, very happy with the Saints' performance. I think the only negative, Conrad, obviously, in attack were brilliant, but just dived in a lot. And if he don't get them calls right, Conrad, he definitely puts the defence in a bit of trouble and danger, as I saw with the 2 tries. So I think that Paul Wellens, the coach, and have to find a way to shore up that right edge. That with it, and that's one thing I worry about, because that Penrith left edge is one of the most deadly ever created in the world of rugby. So I think then have to find a way to maybe sort out Conrad, help him with his decision making for the game. Other than that, yeah, good performance, did what they have to do, and then played some of the youngsters, which I'm sure some of the Saints fans were happy about in that second half, and they still did well.
Yeah, I watched it, and in a minute I'm going to build up the task ahead for Saints, just so people who don't know the game and how the cap's spent and the size of this. They said the bookies are 50-1 for Saints next week. Well, I'll build up some content in a minute, explain why they are 50-1 and the 4 times winning grand final, the difference in the competitions. But what I saw yesterday was certainly, I thought we've got to be careful unless we do with in-depth knowledge of what they played against. If they played against only 3 or 4 first teamers there, and Saints had their starting lineup up, yes, we've got the game over with, but actually there's also a thing of saying, wow, there's no wonder we are 50-1, because Penrith had beat 30-40 on St. George's first team, so God knows what they put on their second team. So they probably put 60-70. I think somebody said this morning, Gus Gold was asked how he was asking in the game yesterday. He's the most famous commentator and knowledgeable man in Australia. And he said, is this the Saints' first team? What we're watching? They're like, yeah. And he's put, what do you think's going to happen? And he said, I think they'll declare by half time. He said, the heat's going to be 40 degrees. The ground's going to be so fast. He goes, and the Penrith are one of the greatest teams to ever play this. So he thinks it's all over at half time. Saints will so they didn't see anything from the Australia point of view. What they've gone, wow, this is good. They've probably picked 2 or 3 individuals out and said he could definitely play here. I'm sure young Lewis and Jack Wellesby, and there's a few others where you go, wow. But what shocked me, well, the size difference. The size difference is, Lomax played, who is the first teamer for St. George, he played. And I think somebody told me this morning, Lomax is like 6'3", 6'4", 96, 98. Tommy Makinson doesn't look too small in our comp, but yesterday, he looked so small. Young Beniston on the other wing. When he was carrying out the yardage, you were actually physically scared for him, thinking, it's the size is humongous, never mind the task ahead. So I think Saints will say, well done. They kept to a structure. They kept to a game plan, what Saints do. They don't ever come off it. Next week, they've probably got to complete at 95% to not make any errors and starve field position, because any field position, I don't even want to talk about it. We can go into the stars of Penrith and trying to make this show from our side and give us some hope. But just to give people an idea, I got this article up and it said, pride of success. Panthers spend 17 million a year to dominate the game. The Panthers have revealed the price of success, the whopping 17 million a year the club spends on football teams each year. A build from within philosophy has made Penrith the envy of the rugby league world. The Penriths recently opened the books to the papers to say, in the last full year of rugby before COVID-19 interrupted the development programs, the Panthers spent 17 million Australian on its football program. From players from the clubs Harold Matthews, SG Ball, Jersey Flegg, NSW Cup, Tarsha NRL and development squads. Broken down, Joe, that's 12.5 million on wages, 1.1 million on medical cost and health fund premiums, 236,000 on travel costs, 206,000 on the housing allowance, 220,000 on meals and entertainment, 180,000 on territory education allowances. And again, I'll just show you this. Can you see that, John? I'm showing you. I'm at wrong angle. I think that's what
Gus Gold, Penrith should be able to.
There you go. That's what Gus has put. So declare at half time. So I'm gonna give Gus a bit of go here, what we can put something together. But now that's based on us in our comp probably spending 1.8 million or maybe 2 million. Their salary cap's 4 times higher than ours. Penrith alone, Joe, I'll just give you some idea who come through their system within this period. Penrith juniors at NRL level and Super League clubs. And the list, again, it could be crazy, Joe, but we've got... in fact, I might try and show you because it just goes on and on and on, but it's absolutely amazing what their development program's done. It's Cody Walker, Matt Burton. I can't. Have a look at this. If we can get it up, I'm sure Sam can show it afterwards, but...
Yeah, I'll just give a few names. I've got Damien Cook, Regan Campbell-Gillard. You've got Wade Graham, Andrew Fafita, Matt Moylan, Joseph Swalii, Danny Levi, Blake Austin, Tyrone May, Lachlan Coote. All these players all come from the Penrith juniors and have gone on to either, obviously, as you know, there's some of the names in Super League or rival NRL teams. And these are all megastars of the game in every level. So it's crazy.
And this is without the 38 players they've got in their squad at the moment and the juniors they've got. This is just what who've gone to other places, which is, it's breathtaking. Now, give people an idea, Joe. Nathan Cleary's recent contract, 1.3 million. That's his personal salary. And then he's been given image rights, which he takes all the image rights at that club, I think, or most of them. And then he's gone and signed a deal with Fox Sports to do a bit of content once every week or once every month. That's in the millions. So, that's more than he's probably earning, Joe, more than our full Saints side, more than our full squad, more than our full wages. They've got one individual who they say is the best half in the world, by the way, but he's probably on his own, his total package would be as much as what Saints have spent on players and squad and everything.
Close, and it's very close, and it's close.
Well, if you work that out, 1.2, and then he's got double on the... Anyway, we're talking in the millions. That's what we're talking, Joe. So let me just explain to people what that means. That means that if this were like any other sport previously, when we've took the Aussies on in the World Club, people say, yeah, but Wigan beaten, Leeds beaten, this beaten. It was a little bit fairer in them days. The salary cap wasn't... Wigan were the big spenders around the world when they beat Brisbane historically all them years ago. When Leeds won, the cap difference would have been a couple of million. Again, I'm only doing this to explain to people the enormous task we've got next week. And I don't want people to come on afterwards and say, oh, rubbish Saints. No. Saints are a 50-1 chance here. And that's probably where it's going to be. That if they pull this off, it's probably the biggest sporting giant killing you've ever seen in any sport. This is Tyson getting beat. This is Tyson. When I woke up that morning, and they said he's been beaten. I said, it can't happen. He'll never get beaten. He got beaten. It was just the most unusual. You know, this is the most Sheffield Eagles when they beat Wigan in the Challenge Cup, 25-1 underdogs. This is right up there among the sporting. We could go on all day. That is the enormous task we face. And what I want people to do is, we've got to sell this, Joe, and I'm going to put it over to you next. Sell people why we've got a chance, Joe. I know it's hard. I'll put you on spot because you're 50-1, but give us something and some hope at the moment, because we're going to do matchups in a minute. We're going to do matchups, and I'll put them to you, and we're going to try and do it. In fact, if you just try and... We've got the teams down there, Joe. Just say what we think the teams are going to be.
Well, it's obviously tough to say, but we think it's going to be around Dylan Edwards, fullback, Brian Tuttle as one of the wingers, Stephen Crichton centre, Isaac Tago, Sunia Taruva as your other centre winger partnership. You've got Jerome Luai. You've got at 6. You've got Nathan Cleary 7, Moses Leota and James Fisher-Harris as your props. You've got Mitch Kenny as your hooker. You've got your second rowers in Scott Sorensen and Liam Martin. You've got Isaiah Yeo as your 13. That's your top. That's your 13 starters, we think. Apparently, Liam Martin might have an injury. Someone might come in and replace Liam Martin, so they might be chops and changes. But that's your 1 to 13 in the squad. So that should be their ideal squad if everyone was fit and ready to go.
Yeah, and the Saints.
Saints, we've got Jack Welsby, obviously number 1. Tommy Mack, number 2, the winger. We've got Conrad Hurrell and Mark Percival as your 2 centres. Number 5, you've got probably Hopewarte or John Bennison. I think probably
Ritson.
Yeah, maybe T. Ritson. It looks like from what they started as probably Hopewarte. You've got your halfback combination of Lomax and Dodd. You've got your 2 props, Alex Walmsley, Matty Lees. You've got the legend himself, James Robey, as the hooker. Joe Batchelor, Sione Matautia as your 2 second rowers, and your 13 is Morgan Knowles, who missed the game. He missed the game because he was under the weather on Saturday morning, if you're watching, but reports are that he will be back for the World Club Challenge, which is a brilliant plus for the Saints.
And I think we've got Passy, Lussick, Curtis Sirin, and maybe Lewis McCarthy, Scarsbrook on the bench. But I picked up something there, Joe, yesterday. I think they might start Hopewarte or they'll go for Ritson. I think Bennison's a young lad, and I watched him bring the ball back out yardage yesterday a few times. Physically, it were a real challenge for him. And I think sometimes we talked about it last week's show, protecting the younger players and protecting the physical development. I think it's going to be so physical. So I would probably look at, because he's done it, Hopewarte or even, you know, Vossi gave Ritson some real toffee yesterday. He said, look, this kid's the fastest lad I've ever seen. Thank you, Andrew Voss. We love you to bits. You do watch our competition. There's a bit of respect for our comp by you, and we thank you. You know, a lot of them. Gus is getting the boos because he's declared at half time, but I'm going to give Vossi likes the English chances, and he gives us a half a chance, you know, a slight chance. But I think that he's got to go for physical. Now where I think what I saw, Penrith, as we know, are probably one of the best teams in terms of, we've always said Australia just control and strangle the game. So if you win the ruck, you win the floor. It's so important for people who are listening. We've got to win that ruck. I think Saints have got to complete at 90, 95 to have any chance. And have they done that? I don't know what the stats are last 18 months, but they're going to have to do it. They're going to have to get them. The Saints are known for doing them 4-second kicks, which is keeping the ball in the air for 4 seconds. It's a 40-metre kick. The kick chase is great. And they're keeping you in there. They shoot on you. Problem being in our competition, when they've done that, they can dominate teams with their speed, aggression, and the way they get the field position. Then they stick to structure and look for a number, and it's all over. This is the difference. You've got 109-kilo players coming out here who are physically more developed than anything we've ever seen, who've got footwork, they're not bothered about coming out of that because they do it every week in the NRL. If they come out of that and get a roll on with your halfbacks here, it's good night, Irene. It's good night. Now, this young fullback's got a great running game. He's very good defensively. He's got everything. But the matchups, Joe, we're going to try and give us a chance. We've got the first matchup. I'm going to put it to you, and then we'll swap over. Dylan Edwards, he's come from nowhere, really, last 18 months. Suddenly, Penrith have got a fullback over. They go, wow. I watched him last year a lot. He was fantastic, but very unassuming. He's not a Billy Slater. You don't have your gob up on when you're watching it. He's certainly not, that type. But I love the way he's a bit like Paul Wellens was for us. Paul Wellens, when they thought Paul were an OG or one of the best, he's one of our best ever. But he was safety, he was physical, he did everything right. Against the young gun, the one and only Jack Wellsby. I saw Jack at we went to the comedian thing in Leeds about a month ago, and I said to you, I didn't realise how big he was. Peter Kay, you were there, and he was physically a very, very physical lad. He said hello. Give us your thoughts, Joe.
This is probably one of the most even matchups, I think, in the whole game. Obviously, I don't know how much they'll be going against each other personally, but position for position, I think this is quite close. Dylan Edwards is a monster, brilliant out of yardage. Like you said, safe as houses, brilliant defensively. You'd probably say Jack could add more flair in attack. Obviously can lead an attack. You've seen him play halfback for England, halfback last year for Saints when Dodd got injured. So Jack's done it at the top stage at multiple positions and played at half and showed creativity. And that's probably what Jack offers more than Dylan. But Dylan offers probably even more physicality than Jack, even more safety in defence. Some of the defensive highlights of Dylan Edwards are unbelievable in the Premier final last year against obviously Parramatta. Some of the try-saving tackles he did. You sat there with your mouth open, you're shocked, and I don't think Jack can offer that quite concise decision making that Dylan can. So yeah, fairly close. But I'm going to give it a dead draw on that one because I think they counteract each other.
Well, I'm going to promote us. I'm going to give Jack that battle. I'm going to say Jack's competitive edge, his will to win. He's right on the edge. He's right on the edge. The best players are usually on the edge. I think Jack is on the edge. But I tell you what, I saw him destroy the England Aussies in the Test match, the under-18s. And he didn't give a shit. He literally took it to him. He verbal to him. He wasn't. There was no intimidation at all. It was just like, yeah, I'm as good as you, if not better. Watch what I do, and he did it. So I have a feeling, Jack, the bigger the occasion, the better Jack Wellsby. I'm taking Jack Wellsby on that one. So Gus Gold, 1-0 to the. Oh, when the Saints go matching. I heard it yesterday, Joe. That's 1-0.
I don't think you can say that. Dylan Edwards obviously got man of the match in the final. Against Parramatta was unbelievable. That's a huge statement to make, Dad. So yeah,
well, I bet it. Thank you.
Yeah,
we've got the yardage battle, Joe. We've got the yardage battle. We've worded this. We've got Brian. Is it T-O? Are you spelling it?
I'll say it. I'll give this one to you. You've got the wingers. You've got Brian Tuttle versus Tommy Makinson. Who have you got? That's a tough one.
I think coming at yardage, I've got to go for Brian. I think he's got a better yardage game. I think that as good as what Tommy's is, and Tommy has got the probably the top 3 yardage in our country for the last 7 years, if not number 1. is TM, Tommy Mack, without a doubt. But I tell you what I did like about what Tommy did yesterday. Twice in the Australia, they used to go in outside. If you get a chance, they'll go on the outside and it's the one-handed finish. And it's that Tommy can do that. But twice yesterday, I seen him cut in. And he cut in against the numbers. And they slid. I don't think they're used to that, a winger doing that. He went bang, bang, bang on the inside, took a right blast, to be fair to him. Tommy's probably the most, if you said to me, name me a player who has to have the best game next week, I'd say Tommy Makinson, that's got to get penalties. He's got to get quick plays at ball. His yardage got to be off the scale. And then if he gets a chance, which will only be, let me tell you, they'll probably get only 2 or 3 chances at a real, when it's on in that game, Tommy's got to take it. Temperament-wise, I think Tommy's another big occasion player. Did we see Brian in the World Cup?
Yes.
We saw him, didn't we?
Yes.
Give us a little bit of how you thought. What did you think in the World Cup? Because we got a chance to see it.
He's obviously defensively unbelievable. I think this is going to be the key for Penrith. Everyone loves their attack, but they're actually the best defensive team we've ever seen in rugby. He's defensively unbelievable. He's physically stronger, as strong as a winner, as strong as a winger than anyone I think Super League has ever seen. I'm willing to make that
statement. Ryan Oldjob, isn't it? It's Ryan Oldjob you're talking about.
Ryan Oldjob, but
with more explosion.
Yeah, faster. So I think that's what we're talking here. It'll be tough to beat Tuttle. He's one of the best wingers in the world.
I'm giving it a draw. I think Tommy deserves that respect. I think Tommy's done it on the international stage. He's done it against the Aussies. He's done it against the Kiwi. You know, I don't see any reason to fear that battle at all. So there you go, Gus Gold. 1-1, Joe.
You've done your math wrong. It's two.
No, I'm waiting for you. I'm sorry. I'm thinking you're going for Brian. I'm on Tommy, but it's your call.
Yeah, I all respect to Tommy, but I'm going Brian Tuttle. I think he just offers at this stage of their careers just that extra bit of speed. I think, like you said, equal yardage, both will to win, brilliant, both absolute animals of men. But Brian has also got that top end speed to go along with all of the other.
I think Tommy has. I think you're underestimating Tommy's top end speed. I think that's
not compared to Tuttle.
Yeah, I am.
Right,
we'll go on. We're moving on to the centres. If he plays, Stephen Crichton and Mark Percival. Over to you, Joe.
Are we going to do every position? Because I'm going down this list that we're missing out a few key ones here that I think.
Well, we'll do as many as we can within the time and not get too dug up in it, but we'll have a go. We've got Stephen Crichton and Mark Percival.
Key positions here. So we've got, Stephen Crichton versus Mark Percival. Stephen Crichton, a bit of news on him. He's going to the Canterbury Bulldogs. It's been announced he's going to Canterbury Bulldogs next year. He's going to play at fullback for Canterbury, so that's his future in the game. So we've got that to be excited to see next year. But for this year, he's the centre, and he is one of the best centres in the world. He's state of origin level. He is unbelievable in attack. His feet. He has the yardage for someone who's a bit unassuming. He's got the yardage because he's got the feet. He's got a bit of everything. And Mark Percival, bit on Mark, brilliant again. Mark, animal of a man. You've got Tommy Mack and Mark, both absolute meat to make a monsters, tough men, both great talent. I love Mark Percival. I don't want to talk down to Mark.
Well, you're just being an honest opinion. It's not. Listen, I know. You're talking on both sides, Crichton and Brian.
I'm saying Stephen Crichton again wins this one. I'm sorry, I feel bad, but Stephen Crichton wins that battle.
Yeah, well, listen, I saw Crichton close up at the World Cup. We get a chance to see him. I thought he started so slow in the World Cup. He made that break in first game, got caught within 3 or 4 strides. He got better as the comp went on. He got better and better and better. My opinion is Percy deserved to have this battle. Again, you're probably just looking... If this were boxing, Joe, you've got an heavyweight against a super middle. That's the problem. Crichton's probably 4 or 5, 6 kilos heavier, and size-wise probably 6'3" to Percy, which Percy will have a right dig, but the body, will the body take it? Percy suffers a lot of injuries, gets injured in a lot of games, but Percy's deserved to be in this debate. So, and he's one of our favourite players. He wears his hearts on his sleeve. They say when he's at training, he just plays his rugby and then he can leave it. He's got, he's not an anorak. He's like, let's do it, and then we get off. So I listen. I'm gonna give us a chance on this. I'm gonna declare a draw to give us a chance. I might be biased. I'm going to get slaughtered off our Australian, New Zealand people. I'm willing to get slaughtered. They're going to say, Stephen Crichton, are you kidding me, against Mark Percival? This is what they're going to say, but I'm on about a one-off game next week. This could be the biggest game any of these Saints players will ever play. That's a massive statement, because there's a few of these will go on to play, could play in an RL Grand Finals, could play in England World Cup Finals. I think this is as big as it gets. So I'm going to give Percy a draw. If we can, Joe. I know you push it. I know it doesn't seem sensible, but we've got to give Saints a little bit of a chance. It's an English show going out all over the world, but we've got to give us a bit. We're a draw with that one.
I'm not arguing. I think, like you said, this is the Mark Percival he's in his later career. Like you said, he's got picked up quite a few injuries. This might be the biggest game of his career. So Mark on his biggest game of his career, along with Tommy Mack, both not got loads of years left in them.
Exactly.
They're coming. So yeah, I'm not massively against it. But Crichton is Stephen Crichton at the end of the day.
Yeah. Moving on, John. We're gonna do the 2 hour. I'll let you do it, but let's do the halfbacks together. Let's do Jerome and Nathan versus Johnny Lomax and Lewis Dodd. This is the mouth-watering one. This is the clash. We've been wanting. Penrith can say, yeah, they've got all these players that the forwards will get them there. They've got better running backs. They've got better outside backs. They've got better up, whatever. Let me tell you, let's match this up, because I want to get right into this. Let's give the boys, when the Saints go marching in, come on.
Yeah, I think you've got Jerome Luai and probably Johnny Lomax, haven't you? Both running instant game changing material from both players. You saw Jerome at the World Cup. Sadly, we missed Johnny, didn't we? And Lewis Dodd. So the Aussies don't know what's coming here. These are two of the best halfbacks Super League and England have to offer. This, in many people's eyes, would have been England's 1 and 2, possibly at halves, or their future. Obviously, with George in there, I don't want to disrespect it, but with George, they're the top 3 halves in English halves in our game at the moment. So we're coming, and the Aussies haven't seen this. Obviously, Dodd's played unbelievable. Johnny,
Dodd, please, Dodd. We keep saying Dodd's bollocked us. Dodd
played unbelievable. Johnny probably didn't have his best game, against St. George. He probably didn't have his best game. So I think Johnny will be looking, probably just trying to figure things out, trying to figure out the speed, get into it. But yeah, what unbelievable play. Lewis Dodd, could be one of the best halves Super League has yet to see. He's got 10 years still left in him. Johnny's on the other end of the spectrum here, a bit older. This is Johnny's game. This is Johnny's game to say, I am one of the best halves / one of the best players England Rugby League has produced as a whole. So I'm excited to see it. Yeah, Jerome Luai. I'll let you take Jerome. You love Jerome. I'll cover a bit of Nathan Cleary. Nathan Cleary, one of the best game managers. They're saying he is the best half in the whole of Rugby League at the moment. Great game manager. His kicking game is the best, again, we've ever seen. It's Johnny Wilkinson for England type level, where he just completely dominates games with his kicking game, with his control of his game. And he's actually last year learned a very good running game. Maybe he had it. I don't know. In his youth, he probably had a great running game, but he's developed it more and more, and he's got it at the top level now. So he's got everything, and he's a leader of men. So that's what you're handling with Nathan Cleary. Dad, I'll pass Jerome Luai over because I know how much you love him.
Well, I tipped him in the World Cup to be a star, and I thought he'd be the biggest danger to what happened, and he did. For me, he was the star of the World Cup. I thought Cleary was very quiet, even though Aussies won it. I didn't think Cleary for me, we didn't see the best player in the world at the World Cup. I've certainly seen it over the last 4 or 5 years. Utmost respect for his game management is unbelievable. And again, these two guys are physically huge. They're physically huge men. You know, clearly for an halfback, he's off the scale. What is he, 6'1", 6'2"? You know, I have to get the weight and everything, but, you know, they're both physically strong. Clearly the same could go down to one of the greatest ever. You're talking in the Johns, the Fiddlers. You're talking right among the Langers, the Sterlo. You're talking one of the greatest to ever do it, Darren Lockyer. So they're already saying that, and he's a young man. Jerome, I absolutely love. I hope I get a chance one day to meet him. I just love the way he plays. He plays fair. He's fearless, absolutely competitive. He's got Wellesby's that don't give a. Honestly, some of the things he says controversial. He plays on the edge. He doesn't apologise for winning. That's what I love about him. He don't apologise. Right, we've won. Yeah, we're better than you. See you. So, but I'm going to try and give Johnny. Johnny, for me, is the most underrated player to ever play for England. I don't think as a country we give Johnny the toffee he deserves. This lad has been a credit to game. He's been one of the greatest players ever. Potentially could take Robey as the greatest Saints player of all time, in my opinion. He could be talked about in there. He's had loads of offers to leave us, Johnny, and he's kept as loyal as the days long to our competition and to Saints. He's got the best game management. I don't want about kicking, but actually process. That there's a difference. He can process the play. If you have anybody heard him on Sky after the game about a year and a half ago, talking about the game and how he saw it all, how it unravelled, genius, absolute genius. Johnny lets the play go ahead. Then he knows when to jump in. He's got the best skip out to make the number I've seen. It's simple as this. If we do get the chance with field position, Johnny will execute because he's done it under pressure that many times. He's very cool under pressure. He will know exactly what to do. He'll send you that way. He'll send you that way. And then he'll say, now I want the ball. And he gets the ball at Saints when he wants it. Over to our very own ShowMeTheMoney's Lewis Dodd. You know, big, you know, love the family. Look, I text Lewis yesterday. He's buzzing. You've got this. He's a fearless kid. He's Lou. He's just a fearless kid. To come off what he's been through and play like that. He's only played 50 minutes. That's his second game in 8 months, 7.5 months. It's just off the scale. There's only probably one or two in history could do what he's doing now and what he did yesterday. He's just, I mean, I'd have loved him to have 7 months to go into it, but we'll take it as it is. For me, he's one of the greatest young talents we've had for a long time. He would have played in the World Cup. I absolutely think that Sean Wayne would have played him to play at that age, 20-year-old, 21-year-old to play in the World Cup. Luke will go into that game next week to take on Nathan Cleary. That will be on his mind. That takes guts to even think about it. I'm telling you now, he will say, get me the field position, I can dance these. What I do like about Luke's chances are, and this is crazy, we can't match this up and I won't match it up because it'd be crazy because at the moment, the two Aussie lads have done that much. At the moment, it's a bit unfair, but let me give you a bit. Lewis went over with Saints. I think you're about 17. He played about 3 or 4 games against their top juniors. Lewis run amok on this surface. On the surface in the sun and the way his running game is, he just looks faster and the way he can assessment so quick and make it happen is a credit to him as a player. He can literally look up and instantly develop that into a move. And he's got the pace and that footwork to do it on a quick. The double pump he did yesterday. I said to Andy, I've not seen him double pump and then throw that ball up top. I've not seen a lot of that. He plays very face up. And he said he just loves it over there. He loves the surfaces. He loves the running games. It suits his style. He's a running game. He's also got that lovely little grubber. He's got that kicking game, that box kick. But this, for me, is the matchup. This is everything we're going to see. I'll tell you what, Johnny, this could be Johnny's biggest game. He needs to leave a legacy, whether they win or not. Lewis Dodds, it's just a progression of what's going to happen. It's a progression into seeing somebody who could be one of the greatest arts we've ever had. I'm talking right back to the Murphy era. I do believe he could be one of them. That's actually his confidence. Is like what they used to say about Alex Murphy. It reminds me when I read about Alex Murphy, I go, God, that sounds like Lewis. Against, like I said, potentially could go down as the greatest Australian halfback of all time, this kid. And Jerome, I can't say enough about him. So I'm leaving that one as it is. One thing for sure, the halfbacks are only as good as the forwards. They're only as good as the outside backs carries out yardage. Whoever gets the most field position wins that battle.
The next one, a tough one, but I think Saints have got a winner in this next battle, Dad.
Jimmy Robey
versus Mitch Kenny. Mitch Kenny, back up for the last couple of years. Obviously, good player. I've not seen loads and loads of him, but played in all the finals. Been a backup. Been a great player. But we're talking about currently Super League's greatest ever player. We give him the GOAT. Last week on the show, James Robey. You saw how good he is still at the game on Saturday with his rubber kick to Lewis Nod. To be able to see that, to execute at that level, fantastic. Again, he probably didn't have to do that much at the weekend. He's probably saving himself for this weekend's game. He's ready to go. And Jimmy Robey, legend at the game at 37 years old. Unbelievable. 1-0 Saints.
Well, it's not 1-0. We'll have to work that out. I think that's about 2-1, but we've left a few out. We'll not do the score. We'll not do the score because I think that one's a bit unfair. I think if we did it proper, Penrith could win 12-2, which again, I don't want this to be about us, defeaties. We're throwing this programme in to get behind the lads. We've both got Robey on that one. Enough said. We don't have to brag Robey up. He's done it, got the T-shirt. The Aussies will get a chance to see him at 37, 38-year-old, still roll out the carpet, still be that front running. He'll play 80 minutes. Well, he won't actually. I tell a lie. He might put him to loose. I actually believe Robey will say, keep me on. And I think when they bring the other lad on, Joey... sorry? Yeah, they bring him on. He adds a little bit on that front foot and pick and roll. But I bet they're going to drag Robey off for a rest. That's the type of bloke we have got here. The next one, Joe, we put it under the brackets carnage. So we've got P. Moses Leota versus Matty Lees.
That's prop Moses Leota versus Matty Lees.
Yeah.
And James Fisher Harris versus Alex Wormsley.
There you go. So, listen, I'm going to take R2 again on this. I'm throwing both in. Wormsley, I think it's a bit like the Lomax. It's a bit like the Robey. Can they leave a legacy? Can they go against the Aussies? Can they match up physical-wise? I believe they can. I dare even say, I know how good Leota is, so I'm thinking, he's unbelievable, isn't he? And I'm still trying to make a case. But Matty Lees, I've never seen him take a back step. I watched him in academy. Never takes a back step. In fact, he's too brave for his own good. I think he thinks he's 120 kilos. He's about 98. But his twitch is fast. His collision's crazy. There's no back steps. He's a very competitive sportsman. And with Big Alex, I think we can get a bit of a roll on. Big Alex, they'll all be going to get Alex. They always do. I think he's probably at that age where he knows what's coming. I'll let you talk about the Penrith guys. But, listen, I'm giving our lads a chance on that one.
Yeah, obviously James Fisher Harris has been unbelievable the last couple of years. And again, Moses Leota, both brilliant, both can play as well. I think that's probably their calling card, that the plays can start from these lads rather than them just being pure workhorses and carnage, which they are. They can also land a pass on a dime and play good football, which obviously helps the Penrith attack, and that's probably what makes them stand out to me. But you know what? Over the years, I don't think the Aussie props have ever had the English props. Maybe a couple of years. I'm sure you can point out the odd years. The English have always had the props to match the Aussies, and I think we will this year. Like you said, Matty Lees and Alex Wormsley. Both monsters, Fisher Harris and Wormsley. What a matchup that is! You'll hear that first collision you'll hear it back in England. It's going to be that loud of a collision of how monstrous them two men are. And then obviously, like you said, Matty Lees and Moses Leota, two monster carnage. Again, that word carnage men. It's going to be on. That pack is going to be so interesting to watch. yeah, just excited to see that. To be honest, very excited.
Do you know what? In the olden days, Joe, this would have been, it's a different game nowadays. You just mentioned there the olden days, Morley, Burgess, Peacock, that have took it to them. They'd say, come on, we'll fight you. We'll do whatever you want to do it. We'll have a go with you. This won't be that. Big Alex don't throw bombs. He's a grabber, but his courage is in his heart. Matty Lees, it's just the collision. Along with Morgan Knowles, which, if you look at, the next one with the Morgan Knowles, the ferocious. But, again, we talk about this on the show about how Keithley wanted to play. And obviously, you took some stick this week, Joe, tipping Keithley. You've been, you've. But what people need to understand is Penrith, that is Penrith's game. What Keithley are trying to do in Leeds is a lot of what Penrith are doing, which is what the forwards can pass as good as the halfbacks. The halfbacks, everybody's got a passing game. The forwards can fix you up, tip on, fix you up, tip on. You'll see a lot of it happening. Whereas at half, Saints will stick to a structure, get to kick, and kick chase for their lives. Penrith are dangerous in every pallet of the game. They can literally play 3 or 4 passes on a shift, coming out of yardage, and suddenly there's a break. And it's crazy what they've seen. It happens that quick. They'll be swinging in. The props will be swinging in and knocking 15-yard balls off right to left. Halfback will be spread on the other side and they'll attack you on an edge. Then they'll bring it back to this edge. It's crazy how the ball movement to Penrith will happen. Whereas with Saints, it won't. You could write down what Saints are going to do. They're going to just stick to that game plan rigidly and try and absolutely keep to a process. They use the word process. Penrith won't be. Penrith will have 19 moves in every single way. So, listen, it's the chance we've got, because if they get a roll on and execute some of the plays, it's big score time. Unfortunately, it's big. Penrith can hit you with 30 points in 20 minutes. Bang, 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 bang. Game over. Saints, if they win, it's going to be 10-6. It's literally going to have to be a low-scoring game and just strangle the game like you've never seen it. As I say, I'll let you say it, but add Morgan Knowles to the... But then you've got... Oh, God, I can't even say it. Isaiah Yeo, it just gets better.
Yeah, Isaiah Yeo at lock. You've got your 13 Yeo versus Knowles. That is another super megastar matchup, innit? That's just... The thing is, I think what we're learning here is the top versus the top. I don't think Saints are miles away. I think where Saints might struggle are the bits...
The squad.
Yeah, probably the bits that we're missing out, to be honest. I think we've purposely picked out Saints' best players, yes, and definitely Penrith's best players. And I think that's toe for toe. But I think that whole squad, the couple of others that we're probably not going deep into, is where the thing, because Yeo and Knowles... I think Knowles beats Yeo in a lot of the aggression, in relentlessness, in will to win, in everything. But Yeo, the one thing Yeo can do, he can play rugby. He's Cam Smith, but then also got Morgan Knowles in him in terms of his tackling, speed, and aggression. So he's a mix of both. Where Knowles, you're not going to beat Knowles at the aggression game, are you? I think that'd be impossible.
It'll be interesting, Joe, because again, physically, we're miles behind. Size. It's talking about Knowles. I don't know what Knowles weighs, 96, 98. You know what I mean? Their forwards will be. It's another level. It's middleweight champions versus the heavyweight champions of the world. That's the fact of it. If we put both weights on, I think it's crazy. So listen, it's a scary thing.
6'5" and 106 kg.
Oh God. Yeah, that's the scariness of what's going to go on in it. It's you've just watched the UFC, Joe, last night, and that Australian lad has had a right dig go for the best pound for pound of all time, and he's given up a lot of weight and he's had it a right dig. The other lad, maybe drop a bit of weight, whatever they did it. This is heavyweight champions. If you picked a best world team now, Penrith get 9 in the best world team.
Height, Morgan Knowles is 5'11", so he's giving up 6 inches, and weighs 96 kg, so he's giving up 10 kg against Isaiah Yeo. That's a tough one.
That's crazy. And you could do that right through the teams, Joe. That's the sadness of it all. I didn't want to do that. I know, somebody says, well, the matchup physically is that big. Has any middleweight champion ever beaten heavyweight champion? I'll say it again. if they put their best team in a Dream World team now, they get 9 in the Dream World team. This is how good they are. They're saying Penrith could dominate for the next 5 years in Australia. Whereas I think Saints might get, I'm not saying they can't, but Saints maybe get another one or might carry on. I mean, one good thing for Saints, and I'll say this, Saints will come out of this, Joe. People say if they got beat, they'd be broke. They won't. They're going to come out of this having, at their condition, what I'm hearing about their condition's gone up a load. And God help the competition when they come back. Because I was saying before, hit Saints now, why they're still playing this and they're part of this. But what I'm hearing from the camp is no, it's the opposite. They're absolutely tuned up. They're going to come back with a bang. And they could take out on Super League. If Oak was wrong here, they could take it out on Super League. And let me say this. This is the sadness of this, what we're going to talk about. This is the sadness. If Penrith put 40, which everybody in Australia thinks could happen, 40 to 50 points on us, everyone's going to come out, Joe, and call our competition. They're going to say it's rubbish, it's a feeder competition, it's this. Listen, we might find out it is what it is. It is what it is. We've gone over there. When they come over here, they don't travel well. They usually play us with first game they have no trial games. They come over here and they're not really as sharp as what they should. There's no excuses here. We've travelled there. We've got there 2-3 weeks to keep in. Somebody said to me yesterday, why don't the NRL buy Super League? That'd be the best thing for everything. Use our comp as a feeder, but they own it. So they can put us out in the NRL and all the Fox Sports and everywhere. Well, Gus Gold said that for years. He said the only people should buy Super League is NRL. It'd be nothing to them. The money that's in the NRL, they could buy us. And they probably could be potentially best people to buy us. They would certainly promote it like you've never seen. Then it'd be a natural transition of our players playing here, then going over there. The best 20 each year are playing the NRL. Listen, we might become a feeder club to Melbourne. We might become a Penrith feeder club. That might be what this is all about. On the other hand, we've got to fight. We've got to give it everything to stop that happening. We've got to give it everything. These lads are not just playing for Saints. They're playing for England. Most importantly, they're playing for Super League, Joe. Honestly, they're playing for the Super League. Everything's on the cards here because you watch the people come out if they put 50 on us. You will get that Twitter will go mad and it'll be the most defeatist thing you've ever seen. We may as well give up. We're never going to win World Cup. We're never going to win World Club. We're a feeder system. We've got players are not good enough. They're not. We like negativity in rugby league. Well, if these lads have got that much on their shoulders, because all the negos are going to be ready, the fog is surrounding these. The fog. They'll come out of Twitter and social media and put the fog of doom on.
Yeah, I think you've just got to hope they play well, haven't they? I think they've got it in them to have a brilliant half. Whether they can do it, like you said, with the size difference, whether they can do that for 80 minutes, if they can, all credit to them. The legendary St. Helens, if they do, they deserve to win World Team of the Year, everything, every prize they can get given, they should do if they can pull off this win. It'd be unbelievable, like you said. Hopefully not. I know Gus Gold, I think a few of them tweeted saying if St. George had the full side out, they would have comfortably won. That's how they felt. And maybe I think they're making excuses early for how good Saints looked. I'm comfortable. I don't think they had that many missing. They had a couple. Obviously, they had Ben Hunt, the halfback, but
they did, Joe. They did have a lot out. I don't want to tell you how I know, but somebody's rang me this morning and said they did have 10 out.
Yeah, well, if they did have 10 out, it's still that. But I still think Saints beat St. George's first side, and I think they'll give it a good go again.
Well, they're the bottom of the league, Joe. And the St. George, if they were
predicted to be in the bottom three.
Bottom three.
So that's the level we're talking here. We're talking our top side should beat their bottom side. But hopefully we can give the Penrith a go if we can. What an experience it will be to watch. If not, let's just have a good game and enjoy the world-class rugby we're about to watch.
Listen, Saints have got, if Benison plays on the wing, Saints have got 9 or 10 homegrown in the 13. That's a credit. That's a credit to our system, to the game. That's a credit to English Rugby League. It's a credit most of all to Saints. That's fantastic. We're talking about Penrith's having homegrown. Well, Saints have done the same, so they're a credit to us anyway. It's not as if we win over there with a load of, players from all over the world. These are homegrown kids. Go and make history, lads. Go and give it. If you look at it, you've got no to lose. And I hope this happens with all Super League supporters in this country. Get your hats on. Get your Saints scarves on. I heard it yesterday, Joe. We'll all be in. I'm going to do a champagne breakfast. We're going to have a full day session, which is not good because I ain't told Mary yet. But I'm going to get the champagne. We're gonna sing. Come on the Saints, go marching in. We're going to sing it. We're going to get behind them. Let's hope every supporter in our country is up. Don't get too negative early. If they get a grab at game, we've got to keep in with the lads and keep right behind them. And we owe it to Saints. I'll say it again. They're representing the future of Super League. That's what I think. I think it's that big, this game. If Penrith, let's say Penrith win by 20. Me, honestly, in our comp, we take that. I think and if we can compete on them sets and make it exciting, what we don't want is the 40-50 and the heads are down and it's like, oh God, that. If we can dream, Joe, James Robey, Lomax, if we can dream, let them get that trophy and bring it back and we can give the Aussies absolute hell. We can get, your chest will be out, Joe. You'd be like something you've never seen. You'd be saying, we've done it. We've actually done it on the biggest occasion. But again, you're definitely talking Tyson getting defeated all them years ago. This is right up there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But let's do it.
Dreams do happen. We might call the show "Dreams Do Happen." Do they happen?
Yeah. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. And I think this one, they might just come on the Saints. Let's go. What a game we've got ahead of us.
Oh, and the Saints will be there. Everybody get behind them. Thank you. Hope you enjoy a bit of content. Don't be picking too many bones out. We've tried to make it exciting so people don't just hear us talking about Penrith. We've threw a couple of bones in there to say, look, have a little look at that. And thanks, Joe. I had a few too many wines last night, so I struggled to get through. Thank you for getting me through.
Yeah, like, share, subscribe. Let's go. We're building up the subscribers. We want to get to 5,000 by the end of this year. Let's do it. We're on the charge. Let's get Show Me The Money TV up there. Come on, the boys. See you soon, Dan.
Away, Louis Dodd. See you.